How are you? This is Rabbi Bregman. This is the AskRabbiB series, episode number 6. Today's question comes from Adina in Jerusalem. Turn over the floor to you. Adina, what was your question? Please share it with everybody.
Hi, Rabbi Bregman. This is Adina, coming all the way from Yerushalayim. My question for you today is, how does a person who's making a lot of money in the path of power and success avoid gaiva and stay humble? I would love to hear inspiration, tips, tricks, anything to give me an idea of how a person can fight real gaiva when they are in a place of power. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, Adina, thank you very much for your question. I am on the clock right now over here, so I got to go super fast. I have a lot to say on this topic. It's a great question. Let's learn a little bit of Torah together. The first thing I would say to understand this question is you have to understand what is the Torah perspective. Anytime I try to offer advice, I want to root myself first in something that is real. So, I'm not going to pull whatever thoughts I have out of my yarmulke to try to address your question, whether I say the source or not. Always worth saying, that's where I'm starting from. As an aside, my shirt is looking very white. I'm going to give an endorsement to my dry cleaner over here. My shirt's looking mighty white. Okay, anyway, but that's not the point. I'm riffing as we go. What I want to tell you, first thing is this. Let's understand, you want to talk about power, money, honor, ego. Oh, you used a word over there in Hebrew. That word in Hebrew, gaiva, for the people who watch this video series who maybe not be Jewish or are Jewish and don't know Hebrew, gaiva means ego. So you're basically asking about humility, ego, money, power. How does it work? Okay, so number one, the first thing you need to know is you have to define your terms. What is the Torah definition of humility? Okay, now in secular culture and society, a lot of people think humility is, I'm nothing, I'm small, I'm so little, blah, blah, blah. That's humility. That is not the Torah definition. So let me set the table for you to understand what is the Torah definition of humility. Let me catch my breath because I'm running. So let's set it up like this. If you look in the Torah, Moses says over there, that he is the greatest prophet who will ever be. And the Torah says that about him. At the end of the Torah, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu will be the greatest prophet of all time. That's quite a big thing to say. He wrote it. God told him to write it, but he wrote that about himself. The Torah says elsewhere that Moses was the most humble person of all time. The question is, how did the two work together? How do you get to be the greatest person of all time and the most humble person of all time? And how could you say that? And you could say, well, maybe you might say, well, Rabbi Bregman, God told him to write that, that's why he wrote it. But still, you have to understand, the most humble person of all time is also saying on himself, for everybody to know, I am the greatest that ever was, the G-O-A-T, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, right? If you're not the greatest, I'm headed for it. That's what he was trying to say, You know what I want over there, some of you in the audience, okay? Last name ever, first name greatest. Okay, I'm going to just keep going because I'm on the clock. These videos could be shorter if I wasn't, cracking humor as we were going. But we're gonna pull back the reins on that one. Let me keep going. So how does the two work? So you got to understand the Torah definition of humility is to, number one, begin with an acknowledgement and a very honest audit and self-assessment and self-knowledge of who you are and what your talents and strengths are. Number one. Number two, you have to understand they were given to you by God. You didn't just necessarily have them. Yeah, we begin with certain talents and aptitudes, maybe. You have to develop them. But number one, things are given to you. Number two, they come from God. And number three, they come with a purpose. They're not given to you, your talents, ability, strength, wisdom, resources, money, power. These things are not given to you for you just to push as many pleasure buttons and have as much fun as you can in the world, or to think you're who knows what and to satisfy your ego. You're given these things to basically further God's agenda in this world, to help people, to make him known, to make his Torah known, to make his wisdom known, to help another human being, things like that. That's what you're given these things for. So the Torah definition of humility is know what you are, where it comes from, and what you're supposed to do with it. So from the Torah point of view, Adina and everybody else, you could be massively humble from the Jewish perspective and also be very fully aware that you're great, that you're amazing, that you have unbelievable talents and strengths. The question becomes one of intent. What is your intention? So you could even let people know that you're good at A and fantastic at B and really been blessed with strength in area C. That's cool from the Torah view. The question becomes, what is your intent? It's like, hey, look at me, I'm amazing, what's up? Is that your goal? Is that your purpose? Or is your purpose to basically help people? From the Torah point of view, if you're able to help people with their problems or issues or something, you should let them know. Like, what do you think? What do you think that was about? So we come back to intent. It's important for you and any other person who has ability, power, money, like always audit yourself. Look inside. Like, what is your intent when you let people have a glimpse to it? Is it to uplift people? Or is it people should walk around. You're like, I'm the man and woman or whatever it is. And you should know, just acknowledge, bow to me. Is it about your self-aggrandizement or you're interested in God's aggrandizement? Think about it. That's the oldest thing dating back to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, but that's beyond the scope of this video clip. So what I would tell you is this. I'm going to share with you an imaginary conversation between a table and another table. And one is made out of wood and one is made out of steel. Okay? Who has a steel table in their house? I don't know. Just work with me. I made up this analogy speaking to one of my valued, precious team members the other day. And it worked, so I'm going to share with you in the clip. You have a metal table, maybe I said a steel table and a wood table. Now imagine these tables could talk to each other. Imagine if the steel table will go to the wood table and say, you know what? You're lousy, you stink, you can only handle 1,000 pounds. I can handle 50,000 pounds. I'm so much better than you. So if they could talk, the wood table, if I was advising them as his rabbi, his coach, his lawyer maybe, I would say to him, tell him the other guy, yeah, you can hold all that extra weight more than me. You have that capability because that's the way you were made. If I had been made out of the steel and you had been made out of wood, we'd be different, So a person can have a lot of power, a lot of wealth, money, influence, talent, all kinds of amazing things that Hashem gave you. But the question becomes, do you trace it back to where it comes from? And even if you have some innate things, you have to understand, you started with it, but you have to grow it. And if God doesn't allow you to grow it and have success with it, it's not going to work anyway, no matter what talents you think you have. That's one. Two, what is your intention? What are you trying to do with it? What are you trying to do with it? So that really is what it boils down to. But the Jewish view on humility is not to say, I'm nothing, I'm a loser. Know who you are, be real about it, and then basically figure out how can you help another human being and further God's agenda in this world. Okay, a lot of people are all over my phone, texting me, I see right here from Chicago. I'm going to run. Hope you enjoyed my white shirt. This is Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman of the Jewish Executive Learning Network and BregmanSuccess.com. This has been episode 6. I can count at least this high. Episode 6 in the AskRabbiB series. That's my hashtag. I'm not throwing Jewish black hat gang symbols. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get in any trouble with anybody. If you'd like to submit a question, maybe reach out to me on Facebook, facebook.com/Rabbi Bregman. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg, for my own URL. And I have to go. Have an amazing day. Be well, enjoy, learn well, grow, be amazing. Help somebody, would you? I know you will. Bye.